Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Don Fisher. Montana's special session of the legislature to address a $227 million budget shortfall got underway in Helena today. As expected, majority Republicans added a half dozen items to the agenda as options for balancing the budget. Those include extending the state's health insurance premium tax to a pair of smaller nonprofit companies and consideration of the offer from a private prison company of $32 million to help offset any potential tax increases. Governor Bullock also made a somewhat unexpected move on Tuesday, announcing he would immediately put into place the $76 million in spending cuts that he considers part of the proposed budget deal. As for the rest, if lawmakers and the governor can't come to a consensus tomorrow, the special session could extend into Thursday. Fire investigators say that there was no foul play in last week's fire that destroyed Libby's last lumber mill. Libby Mayor Brent Teske says investigators believe the November 5th fire at SK Finger Joint started in a motor blower, which is part of the ventilation system at the wood company. He said it is likely sawdust in the motor that sparked the fire. Mayor Teske added that they have to wait to see what the owner plans to do, but community members hope he will rebuild as the mill was a final foothold in the timber industry. Mineral County commissioners are left to pick up the pieces after the sheriff resigned last night, just hours before the jail committee made recommendations to reopen the closed facility. Now that Mineral County is without a jail, a sheriff, and one less position on the jail committee, what happens next? Well, Mineral County Commissioner Roman Zalawi says because of a Montana statute, the undersheriff will assume the sheriff responsibilities until the commissioners can appoint a new sheriff. According to Zalawi, the commissioners are waiting to see if other candidates come forward. If not, the current undersheriff, Mike Boone, will be appointed until the end of Bauer's term. Once a position is filled, the new sheriff will pick from a pool of deputies to fill the undersheriff position. Bauer resigned with a year left in office, which would have ended in December of 2018. Switching to weather, a nice day out there in northwestern Montana, and we should have a little bit more sun tomorrow, but there is a change in the weather that is set for later in the week. For more on that, let's take it over to Chief Meteorologist Erin Yost for her first forecast. Erin?
Yeah, those changes are going to creep in a little quicker than anticipated. I think tomorrow we could still see some sunshine across northwest Montana. Already starting to see those clouds clearing out as we speak, but they will start to fill in by tomorrow late afternoon for sure, and that's as our next system begins to approach the region. That'll start to bring in a mountain snow and a valley rain snow mix as early as extreme early morning hours on Thursday, likely lasting into early Friday. With it, some wind. I've got more details coming up in your full forecast.
Okay, thank you, Erin. While the governor had to cancel due to the special session, nearly the entire community of Libby gathered this morning at the high school for a ceremony before sending the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree on its way to Washington, D.C. MTN's Nicole Miller was at the ceremony and has the story.
In Libby, it was a community send-off, Big Sky style, for the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree.
It's real special, we're not only just sending a tree to the nation's capital, we're sending, part of Libby and Lincoln County along with it.
Mayor Brent Teske says it's an honor to see the community send the nation's Christmas tree on its way to Washington, D.C. from the Kootenai National Forest.
This is the second time that the Kootenai National Forest has had the tree, and it's also about the fourth time that the tree has come from the state of Montana.
The event was hosted by the Libby Chamber of Commerce, who tell me putting on an event of this size takes the entire community.
We were excited to be a part of this Christmas tree event. It's a really big deal for our small town. We had a lot of people here, which shows you how much pride we have in our logging industry and the trees from our Kootenai National Forest.
First tree, I believe, went out of here in 1959. I wasn't even born. The second one was 1989. I was gone to the military, so this is the first one I've ever got to participate in, so it's special for me too. Reporting
in Libby, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
Not only did Lincoln County provide the tree, but all the ornaments that went along with it. They tasked with making over 9,000 ornaments, but with the help of the communities across Montana, they are sending a little more than 13,000. Authorities are still on the lookout for a driver that fled from police during a dangerous chase through downtown Kalispell Monday. Trooper David Mills says the Highway Patrol saw this driver driving south on Willow Glen around 5 p.m. when he saw a Toyota pickup truck drive by him at over 70 miles per hour, which is 35 over the speed limit. Mills attempted a traffic stop, but the driver refused to slow down, leading to a chase down Highway 93 and eventually into downtown Kalispell. Mills says the driver continued to drive erratically, hitting a parked car, hopping curbs, and running multiple stop signs. Troopers called off the chase because of the threat to the public, and Mills says the driver was fortunate that no one else was injured in the chase.
There was lots of vehicles around. I consider it extremely lucky that he didn't hit a moving vehicle. He hit a parked vehicle, but very lucky that he didn't hurt or kill anybody. He clearly saw me as he drove by me and had no intent to stop.
And that truck is described as a blue late 80s model Toyota pickup. If you have any information about this incident, you are asked to contact the Montana Highway Patrol. Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks in Kalispell say numbers have been down this hunting season, but they say that could soon change. From the start of the season until November 5th, the overall number of hunters and the percentage of ones with game are down. The percentage of hunters with game was 9% last year compared to just under 7% this year. However, the number of elk that have passed through the 5 check stations recorded is about the same as last year, while game checkers have seen about 100 fewer white-tailed deer so far. FWP wildlife biologist Jesse Cortrain says stalking conditions have also been quite difficult this year due to snow icing over, which can create loud noises while hunting and scare off the game.
We're anticipating an increase hopefully this weekend in both harvest and hunter numbers as the white-tailed deer start to enter the rut. We started seeing some rutting behavior indications of the beginning of the rut last weekend, but it was still a little early.
And general hunting season ends on November 26th. Lake County authorities won't file charges against a man questioned for a fatal shooting in Pablo. 28-year-old Ryan Black had been questioned by authorities after the fatal shooting in September, which took the life of 34-year-old Johnny McKeever. Investigators had said McKeever went to Black's house to confront his estranged wife about her relationship with Black. Deputies learned Black came to the door with a .44 Magnum pistol, and the gun went off as the two men scuffled, killing McKeever. Lake County Attorney Steve Eckenbacher says the state can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Black wasn't acting in self-defense. A former Frenchtown teacher claims his innocence against sexual assault charges. Troy Basher entered the not guilty plea to misdemeanor sexual assault this afternoon in Missoula Justice Court. The Frenchtown music teacher is being charged for allegedly fondling and attempting to kiss one of the 16-year-old female students back in December of last year. In court today, the judge said Basher will remain out on his own without any bail set. Basher will not be allowed on Frenchtown school property for the duration of the case and cannot have contact with the alleged victim or any witnesses. He is also not allowed any contact with minors except for family members, something that prosecutors are worried about.
As far as his contact with minors, if the only minor he is going to have contact with is a family member, I don't have an issue with that, except for that I think that monitoring that is going to be difficult, right? The only people that are going to know that are his family. So I don't object to the condition, although I express some reservation about the ability to enforce it.
And despite the allegations, many Frenchtown students and parents stand with Basher and believe he is innocent. If found guilty, Basher faces 6 months in jail and up to $500 in fines, and his next court appearance is stated for January. Back in court today, former Florence Dr. Chris Christensen took the stand to address a long list of accusations against him, and MTN's Augusta McDonald brings us the details from Ravalli County.
11 of Christensen's former patients are involved in the charges that are being brought against him. 2 of them are now dead, and some of them have testified against him over the past 3 weeks. But as Christensen himself took the stand early this week, his version of events did not always agree with theirs. Defense attorney Josh Vanderwettering and prosecutors both questioned Christensen about each individual patient in this case. Christensen says his patients had complicated personal lives, living with physical and psychological pain with limited ability to pay. Prosecutor Thorin Geist spent the afternoon going through complaints about Christensen's medical charts and prescription practices from Idaho and California to those he's currently facing in Montana.
It would be inappropriate to prescribe 1,000 methadone every 14 days, right?
I disagree with the statement that my prescribing of that amount of medication for that patient under the circumstances was inappropriate.
Christensen says he was trained to trust his patients at their word until he was given a reason not to. Reporting in Hamilton, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
And the trial continues on Thursday, and prosecutors say they expect to wrap up their questioning sometime this week. And up next, Aaron is back with a look at the rest of your forecast for the week. And later, police shot and killed a gunman who went on a rampage in rural Northern California. We'll have an update on their investigation next.